everyone. My name is Molinari, and I'm so excited to share with you all my senior project presentation. The essential question for my senior project was how to incorporate a version of the peak performance program here at Mills High School. Before we begin, I just wanted to do a little presentation overview. So to start, we're going to talk about what the peak performance program actually is, why I chose my project, my mentor, the research process and planning, my flex blocks, speakers, failures, and then successes. So to begin, what is the peak performance program? So the peak performance program is a program designed for athletes to hit and maintain their peak performance. It provides a lot of resources and support, and it focuses on the outside factors that go into hitting your peak performance in a student athlete's development. So a lot of student athletes and even some coaches really focus on lifting, conditioning, practice, basically until your body breaks down. However, recently that's kind of been debunked, and this program really focuses on factors such as nutritional and hydration factors, mindfulness, stretching, recovery, resting, and all those other factors that people always don't think about. It prioritizes mental and physical health, and it's incorporated in various colleges and universities across the country. With that being said, it's not as implemented in high schools, and that's what kind of sparked my idea for this project. So why I chose my project. As you all probably know, I've been a student athlete here at Mills High School for 4 years. I played varsity basketball for 4, and then I ran track and field for 3. So obviously, sports are a huge passion of mine, so I thought, of course I want to do my senior project, something about sports. However, so I went through the recruiting process for the last 2 years, looking to play basketball in college, and when I was going through my recruiting process and visiting schools and meeting with coaches, they would go over what their programs had to offer. Maybe it was a great dining hall they had, and the athletes loved to go get food after practice, or they were a great team and they won the conference championship. However, the biggest thing that I really saw was most important was if they had a program like this. It really bumped them up on my list when they said, well, we have the peak performance program and we want athletes to feel comfortable mentally and physically. And if they didn't say that, they kind of got bumped down. With that being said, I feel like Millis has a little bit of a lack of resources. Patrick, the athletic trainer, he does a really great job trying. He has a great office with different resources hung up around. However, when you're getting taped, you're not always looking at those resources. Like I said previously, I have a passion for athletics, and I just wanted to help other student athletes because myself, I've been through a lot of challenges, ups and downs throughout my career, and I just wanted to prevent that for other student athletes. So my mentor, I think I had the best mentor ever, Miss Satoli. She was fantastic. She's the head varsity soccer coach here at Millis. She played soccer and basketball at Millis, and not to toot her own horn, but she did win a state championship in both basketball and soccer in 2009, which is interesting because when we first discussed my project, she was like, Mia, I didn't have any of this in high school. I would chug a Gatorade before a game and call it a day. She actually played half of the basketball season on a fractured foot. So they really did not focus on rest and recovery and hydration and nutrition. However, she ended up going on to play soccer at William Smith College. There, she actually had the peak performance program there, and she experienced it firsthand. And she told me how much it actually helped her, and she had a fantastic career at William Smith College. So, a little overview of my flex block. So this is how my project kind of went. I would do my research report, take the information from my research report, and create a presentation for my flex. So my flex blocks ran from December to March. There was about 7. Each flex block had a different topic that I felt like was important from the peak performance program. And after each flex block, I had a handout to give to all the student athletes who attended because I know it can be difficult to remember and retain information. So I gave it to them in hopes they would put in their sports bags, their room, just to look at for future reference. So my first flex block, I'm just going to be very brief because if I talked a lot, I would go all day. But for my first flex block was one of my favorites. I focused on sports nutrition. So what that really meant was going over the goals of sports nutrition, why sports nutrition is important, and we went into factors like carbohydrates, proteins, minerals, vitamins, and then my favorite part was going into pre- and post-game meals and snacks. So you can see right here, we did a fueling station. So I picked some of my favorite snacks, and I had little plastic baggies for people to take them home. And I actually got a lot of feedback that people started eating these before practices and games, and they felt a lot more fueled than what they may have been eating before. Then here on the side were the handouts I gave out this flex. This one right here was a list I made of my favorite pregame snacks. It was a lot longer than this, so I just had to take a cut out. And then here are helpful tips for me on how to stay fueled and picking the right options. My second flex was on hydration. We really focused on the negative effects on dehydration and sports performance. And I think that really hit home with a lot of athletes because none of them hydrated enough, and including myself, I didn't either. So we talked about how much was enough and what to drink pre, during, and post-workout. And you can see right here, this is the hydration chart. I gave this home. I gave a handout for all of the kids to take home with them on how to tell if they're hydrated or not, and this is the best option. It's the urine chart. And I also had noon tablets and liquid IVs for student athletes to take home with them, which was a huge hit. My third flex is my favorite. This was on sports mindfulness. And before I begin, I want to tell a little story because this was probably, we did this flex right before basketball playoffs. I don't know if you know Lindsay Bradley, she's a sophomore, I'm going to call her out right now. But she started doing mindfulness before every game. And in playoffs, we were playing, it was the Final Four game, and she hit 10 consecutive free throws in a row. And she did mindfulness before, and she says, Mia, I can't thank you enough. I did your mindfulness after your flex, and that's why I made these free throws, because I practiced all the practices you told us. And I think that was really awesome for her to tell me that. So going back to the slide, we talked about mindfulness and athletic performance. These are the methods we discussed. So like I said, that Lindsay practiced, she used meditation and visualization, yoga, journaling, and deep breathing. My fourth flex was rest and recovery. This was another big hit. We talked about sleeping and the importance of resting and resetting. We talked about recovery and then stretching. And these last two, cryotherapy and pneumatic compressions, those are a little more intense, more of the professional athletes use. However, Run for Recovery in Holliston offers these products, so I thought that was really cool. And this was one of my slides from the project, and I had these other options for them to use. Finally, my fifth flex presentation, we did global differences in sports. I'm a part of the Global Scholars Program, so I had to tie them globally. At first, this was a little bit challenging, however, it all fell into place. We talked about why American kids are quitting high school sports, how the U.S. differs from other countries, how we can improve the United States and the view on youth sports, and the differences between Canada, France, and Australia compared to the U.S. Kelsey Griffith, so this was the speaker that I got to come in. She worked with the varsity basketball team right before playoffs. She was phenomenal. So she's a mental skills specialist, and she has worked with Division 1, 2, and 3 athletes. So she was awesome. She also came to the health fair. Super easy to work with. She's worked with performers on Broadway, singers, dancers, and like I said before, she worked with the girls basketball team. And basically, I just emailed her and said, here's what I think we need to work on. She came in and she did a presentation and a workshop for us, and I really think that contributed to our playoff success. So here are my successes. So when me and Liv first talked, me and Mr. Tully first talked about my project, we wanted to say, what do you want to get out of this project? And I think the biggest thing we wanted was a long-term impact. So we wanted to start with the first flex and have it go through different student athletes and really have them be able to take these resources home with them and be able to use them again in the future. And I also participated in Andrew Marr's Senior Project Day. So I only got to do a certain amount of students in my flexes because of different, people had to use time to make up work or work with teachers, so they couldn't always meet with me. However, when I used Andrew's Senior Project Day, it was phenomenal. I got to work with freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, and they all came in. I got new groups of people, and my presentation for that was just all of my flexes combined. So I really got to hit other student athletes with that, and I had so much positive feedback. A freshman came up to me actually at prom, and he said, Mia, I used your mindfulness, and I dropped 30 points in my game on Saturday. I've never played like that before. He's like, I'm going to do that before every game. And I was so happy to hear that because it's something I'm so passionate about, and to share that passion with somebody else was a really cool experience. And I feel like I provided more resources and awareness to these topics. And you can see right here, this is Kelsey. She saw we were going to playoffs, and she was like emailing me and Mr. Fallon the whole time talking about it. And here's some feedback. It wasn't the most insightful feedback, but I did bring donuts sometimes, and the kids really loved that. Finally, for failures, this is definitely sometimes what I felt like. I felt like everything was not falling into place. However, it did. Like I said previously, not meeting with the same student athletes every time was difficult. Because if I really stressed something about hydration or whatever I was talking about in that flex, and not all the student athletes got to hear it, it was a little bit unfortunate because I wanted them to get all the information that I was presenting about. And flex scheduling was difficult. There was a lot of times where I was told, I can't find your flex on your Flex the app. And they were like, what do I do? And I was like, I don't really know. So I did have to meet with Miss Maycomer and Miss Bedard a lot and talking about how to get that set. So that was really awesome, and not really awesome, but eventually it fell into place. And not having as many speakers as I planned. I originally wanted a different speaker for every flex block, but however, flex is only like 30 minutes, not even, and it's every other week. So to get people to come in the morning who don't necessarily live close was a little bit difficult, but that's why Kelsey was awesome, because she got to come in after basketball practice and work with us. And any questions?